Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're on this Friday morning, the last Friday that we'll be doing the show in 2018, and we're going to be talking about next week's schedule and all. But I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say it a couple times during the show. Christmas Eve on Monday. You be sure and watch that show. If you don't have anything else to do, watch it. But make sure you watch the last 6 minutes of the Christmas Eve show. That's one of the most special things we will have done all year. So I really want to go and give a plug for Monday's show, the last part of the show. All right, let's move on with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin Highway 77. They're getting ready for next semester, so y'all run by that register. High today, 51, low 38. Water temperature 61. I want to do a disclaimer when I said yesterday's weather was going to stay around 48 and wasn't going to change by 1 degree. Gail told me to tell y'all she apologized because she does the weather while I'm getting everything else ready. She was looking at Washington, D.C., and that's what the temperature was like that. So we were a little bit off here, so she apologized. I said, well, that's the first bad weather report we've given, incorrect weather report in over 3,000 shows, so I think we'll be okay. The river readings, Apalachicola, Bluntstown, it's a steady drop at 17.5. Again, we talked about yesterday, good catfishing this weekend all up and down the Apalachicola River. Choctaw, Caryville, right at 10 foot and rising. With all the rain we've had yesterday and all, it's going to be rising up, so be aware of that. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today, again, the 21st, good strong tide today. Low tide at 5:24 this morning, and a high tide at 7:37 tonight. Good strong tides, and if you're going to fish this weekend, good strong tides all the way through Christmas Day and on into next week. Let's take our break. We're going to come back with our special guest. Welcome back, and welcome to our guest, Daniel Cole. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Glad to have you. And we're sitting here I'm listening to his stories, and it's just fascinating. And all the stories of the hurricane and all, I'm bringing on our advertisers and getting their perspective. But Daniel has a unique perspective now because, you know, he's from Apalachicola. His dad and mom's Apalachicola. So this wasn't a new rodeo for you. This is so tell us about when you're growing up, when the hurricanes all come, and how, you know, your dad was a waterman. And
yeah, he's a tugboat captain, so worked for the state. He was always busy, seemed like trying to get things tied down there for them. But we used to evacuate sometimes with the storms. I remember when Hurricane Elena hit, we lost our home. Oh. So we built a new one, and that's the one they're still in now. And we've lost vehicles and other things, but as a kid, we used to live in this little old pine clapboard house. Mm-hmm. And I can't count how many times, you know, over there, tornadoes used to be really common anyway. Mm-hmm. So we'd be laying in the floor all hours of the early morning.
Get in the hallway.
Get in the hallway. So, but I think that's everybody's perspective, living on the coast like that, and grow up in that type of an environment.
All right, so you got all the experience, you've been around boats your whole life and all. So here we get a notice that there's a storm out there called Michael, Category 1, in the southern part of the Gulf. Not thinking too much about it. So then, well, what did you start doing?
Well, you know, we really, that was probably one of the most poorly guessed and informed storms ever.
It was.
You know, we kind of set an early precedent. If it got to a 3, we would leave.
Right.
And then we said, well, you know, they said it might be a light 3. We may wait to a 4. Well, then it skipped the 4. And though they won't admit it, it was a 5. I don't care what anybody says.
Everybody knows anything about the water and says that.
I talked with Captain Ho and their anemometers on their barges and tugboats there. They read, you know, plainly Category 5 storm winds. And
so you talked to the guys who were right there. I mean, they had instruments, harders and all them. Okay.
You know, we can all guess why they don't want to say it's a 5 because we know the ramifications that would cause for all the insurance companies.
Yeah.
But that's the fact of it. So it jumped on us big. It jumped on us hard. I will say, for it to be one of the worst events in our area and time, I'm sure you feel the same way. We'd be very proud of our community. It's like as soon as it was over, in our neighborhood, ants were just coming out of the ground like.
That's a good way to describe it.
You know, we were cutting trees and had a fellow down the road with a tractor, and we were pushing everything out. And of course, when we got to the end of our road, we found out that 2301 doesn't go nowhere because it's all covered up. So, you know.
It's up in Bayou George, and you
Yeah.
get, like I said, get out there, and then 2301's covered up.
Yeah.
So what happened then? You saw people down the other end cutting their way?
No, we just had to wait. There's
Yeah.
probably about close to a week before we were able actually to get out even to 231.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah. So, but we found out a lot about ourselves. A lot of people figured out they were tougher than they thought, and maybe some people found out they weren't as tough as they thought they were. But,
Good point.
but being in our area, this being a coastal area, that's just part of our life here.
Good point. And then y'all stayed at home. You and all your neighbors stayed at home, and you were
did.
just like me. And we talked about it over and over again about they didn't let us know it was going to be that strong because
Right.
if we all would have left.
Right.
But anyway, so your house got messed up.
Yep. It got some damage, and we've had engineers out. We're trying to sort through all of that.
Yeah.
We had a tree hit the back of the house on the laundry room, blew a window out, and all the wind came from that point into the house so strong it blew the scuttle hole, and it felt like it's going to lift the house, lift the roof. So I actually went and opened the front door to let the airflow on through, and then as the storm rotated around, I was able to close that one and open the side laundry door, and then finally get out as it slowed a little, put 10 over that window, and then shut everything back up again.
Very smart. That's a good point. And so you allowed for the pressure, and that's where it caught so many people off guard. That pressure, boom, and then blowing out and roof lifting, and that's what caught so many people. So what you did, you opened the door and just let it equalize.
Yeah, go right through.
Yeah. We have to remember that next time. If y'all stay at home, y'all need to do that next time because so many people don't know to do that. And it caught them by surprise and all. And we're talking about a community like Bayou George and all. I know Panama City, Mexico Beach, we got the brunt of the storm and all, and they got the most publicity and all. But these communities like Fountain and Youngstown and Alpha and all the way up through and Bayou George,
Bluntstown,
Clarksville. They got hammered, big time hammered. It's still a Hurricane 3 getting them way inshore. Yep. And it made me appreciate what all they did, and they didn't get much publicity as far as getting help and all. But
well, you think about power a lot of times, what the power companies do, but like I've got a friend there in Clarksville who works in Bluntstown for one of the big cable contracting companies there. And he literally, ever since the storm, has not had a day off. He's been working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to restore people's phones, internet, and the basic infrastructure of communication for those Liberty County and Calhoun County and those areas. And, people like him are what really make these communities so strong and great. Very selfless, self-sacrificing.
That's right.
The entire time he did this, his entire yard is totally glutted with down trees and stuff. And he's totally put his personal needs aside to take care of what he needed to for his neighbors.
Yeah, to me, that's part of the Panhandle character of the men and women who live here in the Panhandle, who are willing to help and willing to sacrifice. And it really came out, I think, more in this storm than I've ever seen it before about people jumping in and helping over and over again. That's right. Story after story like that. And the work ethic. That's what hit me watching these guys and myself too, with chainsaws and just, that when they were waiting, we just
dust to dawn.
The job needs to be done. Let's cut this door, cut this road. We don't need to take a break. And that was the work ethic, and these linemen coming in and all, and they just kept working. So that's a lot of good stuff came too. Yep. Without missed all the damage. We're gonna take a break and come back and show you some pictures that Daniel brought. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And Daniel, we're talking about all kinds of stuff, and just amazing the force of the wind. But we're going to look at this first picture here. Let's see. Tell us about this picture.
Well, this picture is one of the first scenes I was called to when we started getting calls from insurance adjusters. This is over in Watson Bayou, and some local captains that are good friends of mine had boats here, and it's sad to say there's actually, in the midst of all that, about 3 vessels that are gone. One of them, one of my friends had worked very hard, put a lot of money into, but it was not to a point yet where they could actually insure it. So it was total loss. Yeah. The one that you can barely see the roof line in the back end, the hardtop. Okay. But there was several boats there, and they all took a licking. But Some of them worse than others.
A couple of them are floating okay. I mean,
Yep.
they really got blown around, but a lot of them went underwater, didn't they, in other places?
Yeah, they sure did.
All right, this next picture, where is this?
That's actually over by Queencraft. That is actually the Ashley Gorman from the foot of the bridge.
The Ashley Gorman, okay.
It's it was piled up onto a dock there, and there were several boats tangled up. A couple of the Queencraft fleet were in there too, and fortunately, a lot of their boats, did very well because they were, metal hull boats. The Ashley Gorman was fiberglass, but what I understand is it's already been hauled out. It was on a barge.
Okay.
And they're seriously considering refitting it and putting it back in service. So
Oh, that's
I haven't
good.
heard anything, but I would love to see that.
That's good to hear. Some we're going to talk about later how to repair some of them. Then this is over in Robinson Bayou.
Which is the same place. It's just further up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Florida Queen and Star Queen.
We talked about this yesterday and all. And what's the word you hear in the community, on the waterfront community, about what's going to happen to these queen boats?
Well, they're going to try and pull them off, but
Okay.
because they are older wood boats, the roofs have been taken off by the storm, so there's a lot of intense interior water,
Okay.
seepage and storage. So
For some reason, we've really locked in this past couple of days on the Queen boats because of the history of Captain Davis and Mike Miller and all of them. And we showed a video yesterday of them crushing the Ocean Queen up there at Mike's Yard, and it was sad today. But that's why everybody's hoping they can do something. Maybe at least try to say the Florida Queen or Star Queen and all. But they were built in the 60s, and the Ocean Queen was built in 1961, and then the Dixie Queen was in 54. So. It's an amazing part of our heritage, and they don't make them like this anymore. Anyway, there's a possibility that could be.
I would hope so.
We're going to try to be positive on this.
The biggest problem with them is you see how shallow they are.
Yeah.
It's literally from where I took that picture there. You're almost in zero water to get to them. It's so shallow there, and there's Coast Guard had already let us know there's a lot of quicksand. So it's not like you can get out and just walk up these boats and strap them.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
There's a lot of extenuating circumstances there that's going to affect the recovery. So
I keep thinking in my mind about in the old days you'd roll them off on a log or something, roll back down there. I don't know.
Well, that's what they're doing with the big Air Force drone boat over there at Tyndall.
Okay.
They actually they're putting bags under it. They'll inflate those bags and protect it when it comes off. And there's just so many things they can do now that we
technology come on, and that might be something maybe the Air Force help us out on. I don't know. It's just everybody wants to save that boat if we can. All right, let's move on. And this picture here.
That is one of the boats in the middle of the original tangle that we talked about. You couldn't see it from the other picture because it's actually been crushed between 3 other vessels, and then this one is crushed and laying on top of it, kind of. So
see, that's the thing about it. No one really expecting to do that.
Yeah, a storm like that, and boats that float. It's kind of like throwing a bunch of glass light bulbs in the washing machine and putting it on high agitation.
Oh yeah.
They just sit there and they work against each other, and they will break. So
yeah. Well, I was going to ask you quick too. The boats that survived or had less damage, what do you attribute that to?
Luck.
Luck and location. A lot of times location too.
Location, luck.
Yeah.
It seems like the bigger the boat, the more structural space you have where it's being affected by the storm. Mm-hmm. Smaller boats, they have a little less shear, so maybe they survive a little better. Mm-hmm. But one thing I will strongly warn right now. If you're looking to buy a boat anytime in the near future, get it surveyed. Because we are already starting to see some of these boats show up with lipstick and rouge on them, and they have serious internal issues that you can't see.
That's interesting.
And if you don't know what you're looking for, be sure and get someone who does before
That's
you buy it.
That's interesting because it's about the 3rd or 4th day. I mean, I started seeing these salvage companies, one from West Palm Beach coming up here, and they will come. I mean, they were. It was my neighbor's boat in his yard on a trailer. It had been knocked off the trailer, and it's messed up. And they picked it up, and I'm thinking to myself, it's fiberglass, and they're going to take it down there and fix that thing up. And And they were doing that with 2 items. They were doing that with the boats, and they were doing that with these travel trailers, these campers.
Right.
Every camper I saw was totaled, and you look at it, nothing was wrong with it. And they picked it up, but they said the salt, with the air blowing in there, blew it all inside and all. But I don't know. I'm just saying, I saw it real quick. Some people knew what they were doing as far as trying to make some money on salvage, because they were up here with these big old trailers. I mean, they got up here. And I'm serious, on the third or fourth day, they'll come out of the neighborhood picking up boats and all. And they're from way out of town. And I'm thinking, and they knew what they had, forklifts and everything, one truck, and then put them up. So, like you say, there's going to be some put on the market, some bad stuff.
Well, and we've already seen several that were stored on trailers. Mm-hmm. The wind blew them off upside down, and so while they're upside down, you have flooding issues. Guess what happens to the engine? It may not show any immediate damage. But if you buy, that's the other thing, get an engine survey as well, because you really don't know what you're going to do.
If it sounds like too good of a deal, it is going to be too good.
It probably is. Look for the telltale signs.
Well, get it checked out good.
Absolutely.
What's the tell? We're going to take a break and come back and talk about the telltale signs you can look at if you're going to get a used boat. Let's take our final break. We'll be right back with a drawing too. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with our boat surveyor, Daniel Cole, knows more about boats than all of us, I know. So that's why I have him on once a month talking about boats. Anytime you have a question, give him a call, and he'll be glad to help you. Let's do our fishing game times real quick with Blue Water Outriggers. 10:41 to 12:41, middle of the day, and 11:11 to 1:11. We're going to get ready for our final seafood drawing of the year for Tarpon Dock Seafood, and we're going to have Daniel draw the first name. It's going to be a $20 gift certificate to Tarpon Dock Seafood. And they do have some oysters for Christmas. I talked to them yesterday, a bag of oysters, and the winner's going to be Kristen McKay from Deer Point Lake. Kristen, congratulations. And our final big red snapper for the year is going to, and I tell you what, it's been a good year for red snapper. That's going to Mickey Gaylord, your last winner. Mickey, I know you're going to enjoy that big red snapper, and you have my phone number. Just call me, and I'll come over to help you eat it. So, so listen, when we come back, I talked on Monday about the drawings and all about adding names and all for 2019, but we're gonna do that too. And also, don't forget on Christmas Eve show, that last 6 minutes of the show, everybody needs to be tuning in. It's going to be very special. I really want you to be watching, okay? Now, getting back to the telltale signs that people are looking for boats now, and you're an expert on it, so tell the folks about that.
Look inside the hull if the hulls aren't sealed. If there's been a lot of standing brackish water, you'll be able to tell. It's impossible to clean all that out. Look for any cracks. Look for on the engines, broken fins, bent props. If you see unusual oxidation on bolts, take the cowling off. If you see the aluminum components on the engine are coming apart with a crusty white material, that's all oxidation. That does not normally happen because usually those are kept inside that cowling and protected. So when you see that, salt water has intruded that area.
I see.
And look for water lines, tide lines, water marks, really. Mm-hmm. Anything you see where something's been standing in the water. Mm-hmm.
Now, with all that being said, there has been some good rehabs of these boats, and some of them going to be in good shape.
Yep.
And I mean, some people know what they're doing and repair them, and it's going to be a win-win for the seller and buyer in that situation.
Yep. But be sure.
Be careful.
If you don't know exactly what you're looking at,
yeah.
In a day and time when a boat engine costs $10,000 to up, and repairs can cost a lot. Mm-hmm. Be sure and get something that, if you don't know what you're looking at, get someone who does.
And real quick, a lot of our marinas did okay structure-wise. I know some of them had some damage, but none of them were total or anything. How was it?
Down the main marina downtown is still
that one's bad. Yeah.
We went down and did a lot of the survey work for a lot of the boats that were pulling out of the St. Andrews. And the marina itself, I think, will be fairly easy to repair.
Okay.
But there was, such a loss of boats. That's where a lot of our workhorse fleets is there.
Yeah. Where have you been doing most of your work?
Just all over, really. I mean, wherever they're at, we go to them. And some we have to look for. Some we have to go out. They'll tell us where it was last tied up, and we have to, like detectives, go sort out where it floated to. It maybe in the trees.
Yeah.
it may be whatever. So,
Watson's Landing, they're back in business. They're doing, you
Yeah.
know, I'm real pleased with what the reports we heard from Watson's Landing, and they're doing good and all. Real quick, I know we're supposed to be doing a fishing report. We did it yesterday at this point in time. But tell us about all you buddies down in Apalachicola. You said, you're like me, nobody's fishing here. But Apalachicola, they're fishing.
yeah, I mean, I see people every day. They're catching stuff. They'll hit me up on Facebook or something and say, you know, we're getting redfish or you know, flounder, mullet. Of course, always plentiful.
Those three fish, Apalachicola Bay. If you want to take off for the weekend during Christmas break, I'd recommend heading down that way and all, and catch some fish.
You're going to catch something.
Yeah. All the boat ramps open and all down there, as far as you know.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay. All right, got about another minute or two. We're wrapping things up for the year. It's been. You had a great year going, and then also everybody did. All of a sudden, Michael hits, and it just changes everybody's schedule.
It does. So we've been really busy trying to help both from one, we get hired from the insurance agencies to do the adjusting. The other side is we've been able to help several boat owners get more from the insurance agency.
You've been fortunate enough with your degree and experience and all the stuff you do that you can work both ways and help both parties.
Absolutely, and do it totally unbiased.
Well, exactly, and do it honestly and all. That's what That's why we have. It's typical of our sponsors and advertisers, people like Daniel and all. We just appreciate them and all. We're going to talk about this next time about these wooden boats. But you said as a little boy, you and your dad carved out boats.
Yeah, well, you used to build a ton of those.
Next time you're on, we're going to talk about these boats and all. But
okay,
that's a great story. We're going to start wrapping things up. You got everything planned for Christmas?
I hope some rest.
Some rest. That's the truth, and we all need to get some rest. And we just got to call time out and do that. And again, if you have a question on the boat, I'll give Daniel a call. And I know you have a friend of mine call right after the storm, one of your phone numbers, and you got up with them and help them out and all. So sometimes you think, I'm not going to need any help, and all of a sudden you do need help. And
it can happen.
It can happen. So, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And we appreciate all the work you do and doing it in an honest and hard-working fashion. Folks, thank you all for watching Panhandle Outdoors, and you have a great weekend. Like I say, Monday show is going to be spectacular.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.